Welcome to Pale Blue Pod, the astronomy podcast for people who are overwhelmed by the universe but want to be its friend.
That's like us.
Uh-huh.
Hi, I'm Dr. Moiya McTier. I'm an astrophysicist and folklorist, and I sometimes get overwhelmed by the universe, but I almost always feel like I am its friend.
I love that. And I'm Corinne Caputo, writer, comedian, and friend of the universe, although today's topic tested me. I will say that.
Today's topic was, actually, you know what? I kind of enjoyed it, but I know that there are a lot of people out there who have strong feelings about today's topic. We'll get into that in a second, but first, we have to tell you where we're recording this episode.
Yeah, Moiya, where are we right now? Explain this to me.
So, if you recall, we ended the last episode, we recorded the last episode in the projector room of a movie theater, and we ended recording right before a movie started. So that should give you a hint as to what this episode is about. We are going to be talking about the movie we watched, but we're not talking about it in the theater. We moved.
No, we moved.
We needed time to collect our thoughts, figure out what our opinion of this movie was, and in that time, we also traveled from the movie theater to the Atacama Desert in Chile.
A quick hop and a skip.
It's actually so quick. I have been in this location before. We are recording from the control room at the ALMA Observatory, which is the Atacama Large Millimeter/Submillimeter Array. It's one of the most powerful telescope arrays that we have on Earth, and we are sitting in the chairs that the telescope operators sit in.
Wow, how lucky. What a lucky get.
I know. This is my second time in this room. For people who subscribe to our Patreon, I will show you pictures that I took when I visited Alma the first time. I made a snow angel up at the top of a mountain on top of a third of the entire Earth's atmosphere. It was really high up.
That's really high up.
I know. Okay, so that's where we are. We're in the Alma Control Center, and today we are talking about Moonfall.
Moonfall. The famous movie Moonfall.
Famous movie from maybe infamous
I
movie?
think that absolutely infamous, yes. There was a kid when I was in middle school whose screen name was like Infamous, Joe or whatever his name was.
Okay.
And at the time I didn't know what infamous meant. And I was just like, this person is really smart. And it's just the word infamous with like an IN in front of it.
There are some words that, what's the word? Like regardless or irregardless, or
Totally.
Like extraordinary, where if you put a little suffix in front of it, it totally changes the meaning of the word. But sometimes the meaning stays the same.
Yeah.
Like regardless and irregardless mean the same thing.
I think, isn't irregardless not a word?
Technically, no, but it's been accepted.
I think it should be accepted because I love when language changes, like because people use it. That's is really fun for me. But I know that a lot of other people can be a little more purist about it. But I'm always like, isn't this amazing how the internet's changing our words?
I agree 100% with you, Corinne.
Okay,
but infamous, yeah, that was a weird word. I didn't realize it meant the opposite of famous, or like famous in a bad way.
Yeah, exactly. I thought he just meant like not or unknown, and I was like, that's funny. I think this kid might be funny.
No, not funny. Just had a slightly larger vocabulary.
Yeah, exactly. But we watched Moonfall, which for any listeners out there will be spoilers. So if you want to watch Moonfall, please pause the pod and go watch it. It is on HBO. What's the genre here? Drama, sci-fi?
Yeah, it's a sci-fi drama.
There are maybe some attempts at comedy here. It's to me in that sweet spot of a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like I think 30 to 40 on Rotten Tomatoes is my sweet spot for a movie because
really
it makes me feel smarter than the movie, which I love. And it's not such a good movie that I'm like, wow, I should be writing stuff that good, It's that sweet spot where you're watching it and you're like, this is funny to me.
Okay, I appreciate that, like that intermediate zone. Because I definitely know the feeling of watching a movie or reading a book where it's so good that I just feel shitty about myself because I know I'll never make anything that good.
Exactly. And then you're like, why am I even trying to make art?
Yeah. But this is the sweet spot.
This is the sweet spot. And it's not so bad that it's insufferable. It's like kind of a fun romp.
Exactly.
But this is a 2022 sci-fi disaster movie, which was written, directed, and produced by Roland Emmerich.
I've never heard of that person.
He also did a movie with Will Smith that I forget. He did a Will Smith movie because I had just watched like a Vanity Fair clip with him to see how his name was pronounced, and they used like clips of his other movies.
Cool.
But it's a fun, big budget movie about the moon falling to the Earth.
What a ridiculous premise.
There is the title, Moonfall. And I have so many questions, Moiya, but I'll start with just like a quick summary of what the movie is. So the fast logline is that it's like a mysterious force has hit the moon off course, and now the moon is kind of hurtling towards Earth. And the deeper dive summary is that there's this astronaut named Brian, played by Patrick Wilson, and he has this co-astronaut named Joe, played by Halle Berry, and they did a mission like 10 years ago together. And there was a third astronaut on that trip, but while they were doing like some routine repair, this astronaut died. And he died because some bizarre metallic scorpion type monster, shapeless, I don't really know,
like a hive mind of little electronic things.
Exactly. And it's like it has like snake-like energy, but also clearly made up of many smaller parts. And it squiggles around. It takes this one astronaut, or like, you know, kind of breaks his cable, and they are separated. But Patrick Wilson's character, Brian, successfully gets back in the space shuttle and drives and flies him and Halle Berry home.
Good for
and this
him.
is like a kind of Sully level achievement. Sully,
the pilot.
The pilot.
Yeah.
Oh my, I never saw the Sully movie, but the trailer was like, Sully, we all know Sully landed the plane. But but what if he didn't? And it was like, no, he did. Like, we all know he did.
Yeah, why would they make it? In the movie, does he not land the plane?
No, I think he definitely does in the movie, but like, I'm pretty sure the movie intercuts between some trial and like him actually landing the plane.
Interesting.
They're just trying to create drama.
Movies are weird.
Movies are trailers are especially weird.
The one interesting tidbit about this hive mind thing that killed that third astronaut. I thought it was just a debris cloud. I thought it was just normal space junk at first. But here is a tip, friends. Here's a pro tip. If you watch non-comedy movies with the subtitles on, you get some extra context. So the subtitles, when the hive mind was moving towards the space shuttle, said digital rumbling, which is how I knew it wasn't just regular old space debris.
I didn't catch that. That's awesome. Okay, digital. So there's this digital beast that's rumbling, and it goes away. Like they don't have to keep fighting it or anything. But Brian and Joe go back to planet Earth. They land the space shuttle, and the space shuttle we did retire in 2012. So this is historically accurate so far.
It's a real one, yeah.
He lands the shuttle, but then it cuts to him basically in some kind of like job trial where they're like, what are you talking about? That kind of tech is impossible. That never happened. You lost a man out there. That's so tragic. And you lost your job too. And Halle Berry doesn't come to his defense and say that, no, we witnessed something crazy, because she had been knocked unconscious when it happened. So now, 10 years later, Brian is out of NASA work at least. And Joe is working for NASA still, and Brian is he's now divorced. He has an older kid who seems to be getting in and out of trouble.
His life is rough.
His life is rough now, and it's all because nobody believed him. So we see that he is kind of supposed to do some museum-style astronaut talk, and he shows up late, but before he gets there is this conspiracy theorist named KC, and he believes that the moon is an artificial megastructure. And you're going to hear us use this word a lot, I think. The megastructure.
This is a real term. This is a real term that astronomers use and sci-fi writers use, but it does sound kind of
It sounds
silly.
Completely made up, and I was like, I gotta get Moiya in on this. Like, what's going on?
He's a megastructurist.
And he spent his life, it seems, dedicated to proving that the moon is a megastructure, and he lives on, like, the fringes of YouTube society and conspiracy theories. He tries to get in touch with Brian to prove that, look, I just printed out these numbers, the moon's orbit is off. And he does a few, like, sneaky, unethical things before this.
Yes. He downloads data from ALMA, which is why we're here.
Yay! So he breaks into ALMA by posing as a janitor. And then
he breaks into a university that can connect to the ALMA servers.
Oh, and that's the
he's
phone
not
call
in
he
Chile.
gets. Yes, that's the phone call he gets. Where he's like, send me this to that other email address I included.
I'm totally the professor that you think you're talking to.
Yeah. And then he goes to work at like an Arby's kind of restaurant and then runs out of the job because he's like, wait, the moon is not on its course. And then he makes one of the funniest phone calls I've ever seen, which is he just calls a number and is like, put me in touch with NASA. I need to tell them that there's an emergency happening. And the woman on the other line works at the NASA gift shop. And it seems like it's the middle of the night in the gift shop because it's pitch black. There's nobody in there but her working the desk for some reason.
Right. Didn't you know NASA gift shops are open 24/7?
Yeah. It's like, oh, that's an amazing feature that NASA does.
I don't think that's true,
No,
but it should be.
True. But he doesn't get through to NASA, and he tries this other way where he meets up with Brian at this museum. He gets escorted out because Brian is like, I don't know this guy. This guy's being so strange. And this is after he tells a group of children that the moon's a megastructure, and he just like kind of vomits his conspiracy onto them. And the kids are just listening nicely.
That's not what they do.
Well, also there are so many moments with the kids that I was like, I've done this part. I've done the talking to kids about space part, and I know they're not like this. Basically, it turns out Halle Berry simultaneously is at NASA finding out the moon is off orbit. Oh no, what are we going to do? Ooh. So she gets promoted in a way, really a glass cliff kind of way we can talk about later, where the director of NASA immediately steps down and is like, you've always wanted my job, you can have it. And she starts... she does a really noble push towards, like, we're gonna stop this. She gets Brian in on it. Mm-hmm. And Brian is like, I'm only going if I can bring Casey. Because he realizes that Casey's right. The moon is coming to Earth. And they find this out in a hilarious way, where they see the moon from their house, kind of. And suddenly the moon is as big as the Earth, it seems.
Right. That happens when it gets closer.
Mass flooding is happening. People are like evacuating from where they are, and he has to get to Casey to align and say, hey, that thing you were talking about the other day, I think you're right. And Casey's like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is my dream come true. So the moon's falling closer and closer to Earth, and then they start, this is where the timeline and how much time is passing stops making sense to me.
Yeah, the timeline was a little bit confusing.
There are times they reference hours have passed where I'm like, do we have that to spend? And then there are times where a week or so has passed. And I'm like, wouldn't there be mass disaster if we wait a week? I'll bet we'll never get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
So basically what's exciting is to jump ahead a bit because it is a very long movie.
Yeah.
Like too long.
A lot happens.
Happens.
And they spend a lot of time on stuff that isn't necessary.
100% agree. So what's exciting is that Halle Berry gets this idea from her young son that they should break the space shuttle out of the museums and take it back up to space. So there's a hilarious scene where they're towing it through the streets, and Brian, Joe, and Casey organize. They are the three that are going to go on this mission to stop the moon from falling to Earth. Mm-hmm. So the army simultaneously has a plan, which is to blow up the moon.
With nukes.
And they
worst idea.
The stupidest idea. Also, this is the number one, like, one of the things we tell the kids at the Space Center a lot, which is like, well, you're not going to, if this comet was really falling to Earth in this scenario, you don't want to blow it up because you might create many more comets that are then, or, comet-like things. Yeah. So then they're up in space. They see the thing again. Well, they've sent other astronauts before this. Those astronauts did not make it because they saw the digital noise machine monster. That monster did take their lives.
Aggressively.
In a scary way. And I think NASA is always conscious of astronaut safety and is like, well, maybe it's not the best idea to like keep sending people up here to do this, but they persevere. And now we've got, I'm jumping ahead, and I'm not including the B plot at all because I found it boring. Now we've got our three main characters up in space. And guess what? They see the digital monster come out of the moon. And they're like, what is that? And, you know, there's a whole nother round of like understanding that this is happening. And then they have to smash Casey's phone because they realize that's what draws the monster in.
That's on my peeves.
When there is technology and organic matter in the same place, then the monster comes out. So they smash the phone. The space shuttle is basically off, I guess. So they're secretly, you know, landing on the moon now. And they go inside of the moon.
Inside the moon.
They go
with one of the best lines. They're like actively going into the center of the moon, and someone, I think Casey says, "Are we dead?" And then Brian says, "No, we're just inside the moon."
The line that I remember from that part is when they go, "We can breathe," and I was like, "No, you can't. that can't be right."
Well, you know.
So it turns out the inside of the moon is hollow.
Naturally.
And inside is something I cannot explain, but it seems like an intelligent thing has created this.
They interact with this intelligence thing that's like there are two aliens here. There's the bad one that's trying to take over the moon, and there's the good one that it turns out built the moon megastructure to begin with, and they have contact with the good alien that gives them the ability to defeat the bad alien.
Yes. And that's why whenever the bad alien kind of temporarily leaves the moon tries to put itself back on its orbit, which was another hilarious fact. So in the end, Casey decides to sacrifice himself in a way so that Joe and Brian can make it back safely to Earth. They both have kids and love their families, and I think Casey sees that the hero's journey he's always wanted is to like play this major role, and he takes it on. And Brian and Joe get safely back to Earth. The world is saved. And guess what? Casey, not dead.
Well, not his consciousness.
His body is gone, but he is now alive in the moon.
He's part of the moon.
He's part of the moon now, and his cat is there. And... and we'll get to that. So, highly recommend watching this movie. And
I mean, well, we are going to score this movie at the end of the episode. And based on our score and based on the other things we talk about, you can decide if you want to watch it. But really, if you care about spoilers, you should have watched it already when we told you to pause at the beginning of the episode. But now, thank you for that summary, Corinne.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that was such a long movie. So much stuff happened.
So long.
Now we are going to share our peeves and thieves, which is something I came up with to evaluate different forms of media. And it's our pet peeves, things we didn't like, and the thieves of our hearts, the things that we really liked about the movie. So now we'll start with peeves so that we can be as mean as possible. And then we'll do thieves so that people forget the mean things we said.
And I do want to say, this movie looks amazing. Like, the CGI, like, the effects, the sound, it's all like there was hard work put into this movie. But I do, as a writer, can say a few things about this story that is perhaps lacking.
Perhaps. So yeah, let's go into peeves. Corinne, do you want to tell me your first peeve with this movie?
My first peeve was, well, when he's late to the group that he's supposed to teach at the museum.
Brian.
And Casey shows up early, waiting for Brian as well. And all of the kids think Casey is Brian. So they turn around and they're like, "You're late. My teacher says you're a washed-up no-show." And I was like, that is extremely rude.
Very rude.
And I've never had a kid come to the Space Center, and immediately kids were always like, "Are you a real astronaut?" Like, they worship, like, being taught about space, and the fact that they might be near a real astronaut is kind of mind-blowing. So I was like, that is not how the kids would be. They might be like, you look different than I thought, but I don't think they would be like, you're a washed-up no-show, you idiot.
Fair. That's a good peeve. My peeves are roughly chronological and also roughly in order from smallest to biggest. So my first small peeve is that all the banter that they're doing at the beginning of the movie when the three astronauts, Joe, Brian, and that other guy who died, when they're working on the space shuttle, they talk about Toto's Africa.
Yes.
And Brian gets the words wrong, which pisses me off because it's a very well-known song. But I'm also annoyed that they use that song because Toto has an amazing and deep catalog. I'm talking Hold the Line, I'll Supply the Love, Rosanna, which I listened to on repeat during my first research internship, and I nicknamed the galaxy I studied Rosie because of it. So that annoyed me.
Okay, I have an annoying thing about that scene as well. Halle Berry goes, she corrects him and is like, that's not the words, these are the words. And she goes, I should know, I karaoke'd it at my wedding. And I was like, explain this wedding to me. Was there a karaoke element at the wedding? Because that's so fun.
Yeah.
I just got very hung up on what was that wedding like?
Yeah.
And maybe because I'm still coming off my own wedding of like really shaping an event. But I was like, I got to know more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the wedding that she's talking about, I realized later, was to the army guy or the military guy.
Why did they not reveal that until 40 minutes left in the movie?
Because this movie is not the best constructed movie I've ever seen.
It's a little out of order.
Yeah.
A little out of order. Okay, my next peeve, let's see, is how lonely it must be to be a conspiracy theorist. Because Casey, he holds like a mini event where he's like, everyone, we're meeting at our usual spot and I'm going to go over again the moon is a megastructure. And there's going to be free bagels or something. And I
Gotta
was
have
like,
the free carbs.
Yeah. I was just like, this must be such a manic life. If you've really bought into all of these things are like being held secret from you, that's a really overwhelming feeling. And I did not like it. I was picking up on the bad energy of that.
Yeah. Although, good for them for being able to capture that energy.
That's true. They have a little community.
Yeah.
And they captured it on the screen.
They did. But that is annoying. My next peeve is that they did not need the ALMA data to determine that the moon was getting closer to us. ALMA is a really powerful telescope. It's being used to study planet formation around distant stars and like galaxy evolution. It does sometimes observe the moon because the moon passes over it, and then like we study the temperature of the moon with it. But really, it would be like amateur astronomers who spend all of their nights looking at the moon and other things in the sky who would have noticed that it's moving faster, that it's getting slightly bigger. They would have known that.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I just assumed that there's no way it would be held secret that the moon, or like somebody would just completely miss that the moon is moving closer to us.
Anyone who pays attention would have been able to tell.
And was it communicated that, like, I imagine the moon has started moving closer to us since they first encountered this alien 10 years ago.
So I think what happened was that it took like 10 years for it to get to the core.
Oh, right. Yes.
Like it had to drill through the surface. Yeah. And then it was able to maneuver the moon.
Gosh, that must be exhausting.
I have a lot of.
Keep going. I want to hear him because you probably have more than me.
Well, you do yours. And then when you run out, I'll just say them all.
Okay. Next moment that I really hated, had like a visceral reaction to, was when Casey goes, I love Elon. They're referencing that SpaceX can help them like get to the moon. And it's like a throwaway line that did not need to be in the movie, where he's like, and thanks to our friends at SpaceX, we have a machine.
Do you think they sponsored it? Do you think that was product placement?
No. I have a theory. I have a conspiracy theory about this.
Ooh, okay, good.
My theory is that this movie went through many rounds of revision. And there was a revised round where they were like, well, who's our audience for this movie? It's probably other, like, Elon Musk fans, conspiracy theorists, people who are, like, pro-SpaceX in, like, an anti-demystify democratic kind of way, like people who can kind of get lumped into that group. And I think they did a round of like edits where it was catering exclusively to that audience.
Oh my God, I'd believe that.
That's my conspiracy. Yeah. Maybe I picked up on like what it's like to think in like a in this global conspiracy way from this movie, but that's what my gut says.
Yeah. This is not an Elon Musk fan podcast.
No, it's not. It's
absolutely
really not.
Like the opposite. This is the opposite of that. My next peeve is that they say that the moon is hollow. Mm-hmm. We would know. We would I think a lot of people don't realize what type of information we have on the moon. We can see it, so we know its physical size. Mm-hmm. We can see how quickly it orbits around the Earth, so we know its mass, because we know like how gravity works. And when the Apollo 11 astronauts went to the moon, they placed a seismometer on it that would measure like seismic activity, like moonquakes. And we on Earth, and in other bodies in the solar system like Mars, we use seismic activity to essentially look inside the interior of a body, because the seismic activity is it's waves. It's like pressure waves moving through a body, and you can kind of reverse engineer the pressure waves that you receive to figure out what the structure is inside. So we would know that the moon is hollow.
If there was a giant alien coring its way to the center, you probably would have picked up on that.
Right. But so much of this movie is based on a faulty premise of the stuff that we in reality know to be true about the moon actually isn't real, and people have been keeping it a secret for a long time.
Yikes.
Which this is actually my next peeve, so it bleeds right into it.
Go right in.
We astronomers are so bad at keeping secrets. The idea that for 50 years, astronomers, engineers, astronauts, the janitorial staff that would have been walking through the NASA Center that day, like the idea that for 50 years that many people could keep that big of a secret under wraps is absurd to me.
That's so funny. That's a great point. Everyone is more of a gossip than we're acting like. I love that. Okay, my next peeve is Halle Berry's promotion. I think a lot about like the glass cliff, which is, it's like a glass ceiling, which is like, a glass ceiling is like the invisible barrier that would prevent you from getting promoted. A glass cliff is when you do get promoted, except they've promoted you at a time of like dire circumstances, so they've set you up essentially to fail, where they're like, maybe not intentionally for you to fail, but you've been given this job where the odds are against you. So I remember listening to it, I think on like an episode of Death, Sex, and Money like years ago. So I'm always like, as soon as that happened, where the real director of NASA, or the first director of NASA when the movie starts, is like, you've always wanted my job, you can have it. I'm like, no. We're not promoting probably our first woman of color NASA director.
Oh, absolutely.
And right now we're going to do that? It was really frustrating. But in the end, it worked out because she, as the acting director of NASA, she did save the world.
She did. That's
true. So in
the
the end, it worked out.
And it's a movie, so like we knew that was going to happen.
True. I wasn't sure if she would make it. I wasn't sure who was going to live.
I feel like I knew that she would make it because I am very confident that the community I'm a part of on Twitter would have told me if Halle Berry died in this movie.
That's so true. I think I thought Brian would die for a long time because they explicitly say he's still torn up about what happened 10 years ago and losing, I think Marcus was the other astronaut's name. And instead of, there's nothing that's like under the surface in this movie. It's all explicitly stated. So,
yeah, there's no like sense of poetic justice here.
No.
They're not trying to create that much of an artistic masterpiece.
No way.
Okay, this is maybe. No, I've had a few science-y pet peeves, but this is a big one. I took notes, and this was the first time that I wrote in all caps in the notes. And there's a line when NASA realizes that the moon is falling in towards the Earth, when they say, and I quote, "The moon has entered an elliptical orbit. It will circle the Earth 3 times before it like collides with us or whatever. But the moon is already on an elliptical orbit. An ellipse is just like an imperfect circle. You can have stable elliptical orbits. All of the orbits in our solar system are elliptical. Yeah. What they meant to say was that the moon has entered an unstable orbit, or like maybe even, hyperbolic orbit isn't right either, because a hyperbolic orbit is one where the orbiting body gets flung out of the system. Mm-hmm. But they could have said it's entered an in-spiral orbit, it's entered an unstable orbit, it's entered a decaying orbit. They could have said so many other things instead of the thing they did say, which is just...
It's in an elliptical orbit?
Yeah. Which is just describing how the moon has always been.
Okay, well, another thing for the list. I hated the moment when they're finally launching this rocket with Joe, Brian, and Casey, and the ocean is now taller than it's ever been. And they're desperately trying to launch the rocket before the ocean swallows them. Uh-huh. And they do get underwater for a moment.
Yeah, they do.
And then the rocket pulls through and shoots up into the moon. And I'm so confident that can't happen.
I was okay with that scene.
Maybe it's because I watched so many space shuttle launch videos when I was at the Space Center, where I'm like, this never happened.
That's true. It has never happened at a launch before.
But one day.
But one day, when the moon is falling to Earth, and it's so close that it seems to literally graze the surface of Earth as it orbits. Like, that's how it looks at the end of the movie. The Earth and the moon are basically touching and rolling around each other. But when the moon gets that close, the gravity is going to be weird. And the gravitational pull between the rocket and the moon is going to be greater than the pull between the water and the moon, because the rocket has more mass.
Interesting. Okay, because I was wondering, of all the water depicted in this, what was going to happen? Or, like, what could happen if this were real? I imagine it would be a lot worse than it was on that movie.
The scene where the water is rushing on the land in California, and like Casey and Brian, they're in that building. Yeah. They all should have been dead, I think. I'm pretty sure water moves faster than that. And with that much force, when Casey gets knocked over, he should be dead. Mm-hmm. But I do think that all of the numbers and the magnitude of these outcomes probably aren't right. But I think that the concept behind these effects, I think that is right.
Sure, like the tide is way higher than ever. And
right, the tide's going to be higher. You're going to get increased tectonic activity. Mm-hmm. Gravity will be funky. The gravity of Earth will be offset by the gravity of the moon, and light things will be able to temporarily overcome Earth's gravity and move towards the moon, especially very light things like water droplets.
Scary.
Sorry to pick apart your peeve.
No, that's true. It's good to know.
Yeah. Okay, this is my second biggest pet peeve. Keep in mind we are halfway through the list of my pet peeves. And I wrote in all caps, where does the extra mass of the moon come from?
Yeah.
They don't explain it.
They don't explain it. Alien, maybe? No. I mean, I'm sure they did not have a reason for this, but
I guess it could have been the bad alien. That is the best explanation.
Yeah.
Like, why does the moon have more mass now than it has for billions of years? Mm-hmm. And if this alien is the reason for the extra mass, it's been there for 10 years. Why haven't we noticed a deviation in the moon's orbit before now? Because the orbit is determined by the mass of these two bodies. The moon's current gravity, even without the added mass that they don't say where it comes from, the moon's current gravity is enough to affect seismic activity on Earth. They have a line where Casey's like, we're dealing with megastructures. Yes. Your rules don't apply here anymore. Yes. And I'm like, nah, bitch, they do. The rules of gravity, they still apply. And we know, based on the rules of gravity, that the moon is massive enough to affect seismic activity. There are studies out of research groups in Japan that have shown that big earthquakes, and like they're in the Pacific Rim, there are a lot of earthquakes and seismic activity over there, that big earthquakes are more likely to happen when there's a new or full moon, meaning when the moon and its effect on our tides is biggest.
Sure, yeah. I hated that moment.
Yeah, I was really excited that they got the seismic activity thing right. And then one of the NASA people was like, oh, well, the moon isn't massive enough to do that. And then Casey had to be like, well, you're not accounting for the extra mass. So all of that together was just bad for me.
I hated when he said your rules don't apply here anymore because it made it feel so like othering, where it's like, I, the conspiracy theorist, am right and have always been right. And the rules you made up, which are not made up, they're science. I hated that moment.
Yeah, that was a bad one. Mm-hmm.
There's a moment where Casey says that eclipses aren't real.
Oh, I totally missed that. What the hell?
It's when he explains how the moon is actually a megastructure to the kids at the museum. I'm really hung up on this kids scene, clearly.
Right.
And he says, like, that's why when eclipses happen, I honestly blacked out in this sentence. I was just like, no. But there's a moment where he implies that because the moon is a megastructure and was created by something else, eclipses are like an illusion. And it felt very flat earthy in a way.
Oh.
And I was not here for it.
It's not an illusion if it's physically real. It might not be organic, but it's still not an illusion. There is a physical moon-shaped structure that is passing in front of the sun from our point of view.
If I have to hear the word megastructure again, I will listen through this podcast. But once we're done recording, I never want to hear that again.
Okay, so we will not be doing an episode on Dyson spheres. Okay, cool.
I do want to do
cool.
that. He did mention that in the movie, and I was like the vacuum?
Totally different Dyson. They are not related.
I think we've said this before. I think we've had this exact conversation on this podcast.
What's up? It's Moiya here to shout out our amazing patrons who are supporting Pale Blue Pod with their financial resources every single month. Thank you so much to our latest pre-main sequence star, Michael Yancey. I hope you're not getting too cold in your condensing gas cloud out there. I also really want to thank, as always, our sun-like stars, Sharn Llewellyn, Finn, Ian Williams, and our latest solar-type star, Megan Moon. Absolutely perfect name. Thank you so much for your support. It really makes a huge difference over here. You too can support us and join this stellar crew, hear your name on the show, and make it to our patron star chart, all by supporting us on Patreon. You can find the star chart and Patreon info at our website, palebluepod.com, or just go right to the source. Head to patreon.com/palebluepod, and for just about $1 for every episode, you'll get access to research notes where I kind of fact check and give extra reading material on stuff we cover in the show. You also get to be on our star chart, which I wrote a code to produce, and I would like to use it more often. So again, head on over to patreon.com/palebluepod. Thank you. Thank you so much. We love you.
Okay, wow, am I excited to tell you about this. Tell Me About It is a new madcap game show podcast about proving that the things you like are actually interesting. Hosted by Adil Rafai from Hey Riddle Riddle and Hello from the Magic Tavern, along with Multitude's own Eric Silver. Adil plays an eccentric billionaire who has wrangled his audio butler Eric to prove that the single most interesting and cool thing ever is the movie musical Grease, which I'm pretty sure I do agree with. In every episode, a guest comes on to share and defend their favorite thing through a series of absurd games and challenges. The trailer for Tell Me About It is out now, and the first 2 episodes drop February 23rd. New episodes after that are every Thursday, and I know you're going to love it. So go check out Tell Me About It now.
Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. I've actually struggled with anxiety and depression for years. I've been in and out of therapy. I've been on and off meds. And I know that when you're in the depths of one of those depression or anxiety spirals, when you hate yourself and the world, that one of the hardest things to do is pick up a phone and have a consultation with a therapist and then go to their office and meet with them in person. That's all so difficult. But luckily, with BetterHelp, which is the world's largest therapy service, service, you can do therapy 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy, and that way BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. And if you ever feel uncomfortable with a therapist, or if you feel like it's not a good fit, you can switch very easily for no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality that you would expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom-picked for you, and there's more scheduling flexibility, and it's at a more affordable price. But to make it even more affordable, you can get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/palebluepod. That's betterhelp.com/palebluepod. So head to our link to join the millions of people who are making the really brave decision to improve their mental health. Again, our link is BetterHelp. That's betterhelp.com/palebluepod.
Do you want to learn more about science, math, AI technology? Just go to Brilliant.org. Whatever level you're at, Brilliant will help you master the skills you need. Brilliant is the best way to learn things like math and computer science interactively. There are thousands of lessons from foundational and advanced math to AI, data science, and more. And new lessons are added monthly. Even as a copywriter, I really need to know the ways to stay ahead as this industry is affected by things like AI. The skills I learned to build my career aren't exactly the ones I need now, and this is where Brilliant.org comes in. I'm a big believer in hands-on learning. I know that's how my brain works best, and Brilliant's visual, hands-on approach is such an effective way to master the key concepts behind today's technology. Plus, it's perfect for busy people, with bite-sized lessons that break down important concepts into understandable parts, kind of like Pale Blue Pod. Try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days just by visiting brilliant.org/palebluepod, or click on the link in our description. The first 200 signups will also get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. Again, that's brilliant.org/palebluepod.
Speaking of megastructures, I was really annoyed that once you get to the end of the movie and you see the internal structure of the moon, you see the megastructure inside, I was so mad that it pretty much perfectly matched the artist depictions of megastructures that they showed at the megastructurist meeting. I'm like, you're telling me that human conspiracy theorists perfectly estimated or perfectly predicted what
it looks like
aliens would build?
That's exactly what this guy thinks about himself. He's like, yeah. I was always right and have always been right.
Mm-hmm. And he was just proven.
No.
in too strong of a way, you know?
Uh-huh.
Nothing is ever that accurate.
This is probably my last peeve because it's a pretty broad strokes one, which is that the B plot and the C plot and the D plot. Mm-hmm. The challenge of the movie like this is the stakes are so high to start that there's very little relationship storyline that will have an impact on me where I'm like, this doesn't matter because the stakes are so high. Where it's kind of like Designated Survivor, if you watch the pilot of that, where the whole government blows up and then the Secretary of Transportation is now the president. And there's a B-plot that his son is maybe dealing drugs at school.
Oh,
and it's
I do not care.
I actually don't give a shit because actually everyone important was just exploded. So that I kind of felt in this movie where it's his son, Brian's son is dealing with like prison time because he stole a car, and he's just like this mini story of him and his son reuniting, and I think I could have felt it a lot more had like some of the scenes been tweaked, of course, but it was really hard for me to prioritize like the emotions of that when the moon is falling to the earth.
Yeah, like the secondary storyline in this movie is that both Brian and Joe's kids need to get to safety, but like their safety truly does not matter if the moon falls to the earth. Like, it's...
Exactly. And they kept saying, I want to say they said this maybe 4 times in the movie, you gotta get to Colorado. And I was like, why?
With the mountains? Where you're closer to
the moon? And I was like, they must have some like gorgeous house in Aspen, and they're like, wouldn't it be nice to die there? Which I respect, but
but that's not what they're saying.
That is not what they're saying.
Reason.
So that was really hard for me to get. Every time we cut back to whatever drama was happening with these kids on their mission to get to Colorado, I was immediately bored. And they were high stakes scenes. Like, there were people with guns threatening them. Yeah, but relatively, no, exactly.
Yeah. This movie was 2 hours long, and it could have been a more appropriate length if they had not shown us what was happening on Earth. Like, I don't need to know what's happening with these kids. I think they were trying to give both Joe and Brian like a personal stake in their mission. They already have a personal stake in their mission because if they don't succeed, they and literally everyone else is going to die. Like, it's not because of their kids.
Yes, exactly. And you could really see the moments where, again, this is me conspiracy theorizing how this movie was written, but I think they went in and added that kid storyline, and it was not the original intention, but this is allegedly. I have no idea.
Supposedly. People are saying. Okay. Yeah. Why the fuck did they let Casey take his phone on this mission that required no electronics?
Yes! He's just snapping pictures.
That he's not going to get to take home because he sacrificed himself. But, like, if I were Joe, the moment I saw him take out that phone, I would have broken it. Or I would have thrown it off the rocket. Like, there's...
And he turns and he's like, it's on airplane mode.
That doesn't do what you think it does. That doesn't make it non-electronic.
Yes.
They have to use an old space shuttle that doesn't have electronics to maneuver. They like break out a special space shuttle from a museum for this mission, but he thinks he can bring his 2022 iPhone along? What the hell?
I'm actually so curious if your phone would actually work in that environment.
I mean, it wouldn't be able to send...
He couldn't be sending anything, right?
No.
But he could take
he
the
was just
picture
taking
that he
pictures.
wanted.
Yeah, the phone is still... It's like a phone that doesn't have service.
Yeah.
Still electronic.
I wouldn't want to bring that with me.
I would. Oh, I would. I see why he did it, but I'm now mad at Joe and Brian for letting him
go on. Yeah, nobody got a pat down before this at all.
Yeah.
My last pet peeve is a little bit about Casey, too. But it's when we briefly meet a character who we don't see again, who is another conspiracy theorist, and he's like kind of shown to be a little more radical than Casey, but radical in a way where he's like they've kind of created this ranking of conspiracy theorists with this character, where it's like, yes, some of us are completely insane, like that guy, but I, Casey, am the smart one, and I'm correct. And what this other guy was saying was that there was produce on the moon.
It's all produce.
It's all produce.
Full of produce.
There are and I did not understand. I'm like, no. There are not some conspiracy theorists who are right and some who are insane. And if anything, we should welcome the conspiracy theorists who say there are potatoes on the moon. And we should be kicking in the moon. Yes, of course. Potatoes come from the moon. I think he said, like, how did the Incas get potatoes or something? And you're like, yes. I'm sure it wasn't from the moon.
No, it's the aliens who built the moon. They
dropped off potatoes.
Meticulously dug up the potatoes from the core, brought them to the surface, and then just chucked them down. Just chucked them down at Earth.
And, like, famously, if we're going to talk canon, of the lore of this podcast is that the moon, if anything, is made of cheese. So, like, it's not potatoes.
It's not potatoes.
But my problem wasn't exactly that he said that. It was that we decided to be like, well, that guy's crazy, but I'm not. And I was like, no. You're both insane.
There's not like a spectrum here. No. Like you're all just wrong.
Exactly.
But then it turns out
he's right.
He's right. And there are big fields in the moon, but probably not potatoes.
Not potatoes.
Okay. I have four left. My first is that, so the aliens who built this lunar megastructure, it turns out that they are our genetic ancestors and that they are this race of aliens that have propagated themselves through the galaxy and seeded Earth with their genetic material. This is very common in sci-fi, and I think it's unnecessary in this movie. I think it's used to make the storyline more complicated, like and more contrived. It's also lazy.
Yeah.
Stargate does this, and they are the only people that I'll give a pass because I love Stargate so much. With the Ancients, who are this race of aliens who did exactly this. They seeded the galaxy with their DNA, and they set up the Stargate system. the aliens here seeded Earth and other planets, or tried to, with their DNA, and set up these megastructures that would do that. So that was unnecessary and lazy storytelling that I did not appreciate.
I agree.
My next one, another unnecessary moment, the stepdad. And this is from the secondary storyline.
Yes, the stepdad.
Okay, so at the end of the movie, when the moon is close enough, the water is experiencing this weird gravity, so it's floating up towards the moon. The atmosphere, the gases in our atmosphere are doing the same thing. And this is what would happen. Atmospheric gases are escaping from Earth all the time anyway. So if you have another strong gravitational field like the moon, much closer to us, it would rip stuff away. Not just the oxygen, though. They're talking about how the oxygen is leaving the atmosphere because they went to Colorado, which is closer to the moon, because they're idiots. But I did appreciate how they explored the concept of atmospheric loss in this movie. But the thing that made me mad was the stepdad character who took off his mask and gave it to his daughter so she could get to safety. First of all, why are they trying to hide in a tunnel under a mountain when there are rocks impacting the Earth and causing earthquakes? That was dumb. But it was really dumb for him to take off his mask and give it to his daughter and just lay there and die.
Yep.
As opposed to walking with his daughter and sharing the mask back and forth.
It didn't have to be an all or nothing thing.
No. He just sacrificed himself for no reason.
That was really frustrating and hard to watch because you're just like, what?
Why? Why are you doing this?
Why? I can't believe you've done this.
Okay, so at the end, Brian and Joe are able to make it back to Earth even though they don't have a shuttle, really. They have the tiny little cruise ship type thing.
Yes.
But their shuttle got destroyed, the rocket that they used to get from Earth to the moon. But at the end, they basically just fall out of the moon, and because the moon is like grazing the surface of the Earth, they just fall onto the surface of the Earth and they're fine. But apparently they land in New York City, and they know that they're in New York City because they see the top of the Chrysler building that's like fallen over, except behind the Chrysler building, you also see these apparently new mountain ridges covered in snow.
Yep.
And I just want to know what happened that there are now new mountain ridges in New York City that formed from all of this tectonic activity, but the Chrysler building remained intact.
Survives it all.
What?
I completely agree with you. And I think by that part of the movie, I was so frustrated. I kept snagging on other things during the storyline that when we finally got to that, I had nothing left to snag. I was just, there was nothing more going on in my head. I completely agree. That was horrible.
It was really bad. And then that brings us to my final pet peeve, which is the biggest pet peeve that I have. Okay, so they say that this megastructure is powered by a core inside. And there's the scene where Casey, Joe, and Brian are flying into the core of the moon, and they see it. They see the glowing bright object. And Casey says, oh, it's a white dwarf. You know, he realizes that this thing he's believed for so long is actually true. But here's the thing, Corinne. The moon is about a quarter the size of the Earth. We know this. We have observed this, and they didn't say in the movie that the moon is a different size. It's only its mass has changed. So the moon is a quarter the size of the Earth. The typical white dwarf is the size of the Earth.
Yep.
You cannot fit something the size of the Earth inside something that is a quarter the size of the Earth. So that just doesn't work. It would have made slightly more sense if they had said that the thing in the center of this megastructure was a neutron star, which are much smaller than Earth. They can have diameters of 20 miles. You know, a neutron star is the size of a city here on Earth. But they are the mass of the sun. So even if they did get the size right and say it was a neutron star, then the mass would be all off. And so it's all wrong. No matter how generous you try to be with this thing that's powering the megastructure, it's wrong.
I think that was where they were really tripping over themselves, because they could have created a much simpler justification for this. That would have given us the exact same scenes that we had, except it wouldn't have been this complicated. Because I did write down quote, a captured white dwarf being harnessed for energy? Question mark, question mark, question mark. And it made it seem like these aliens are hunting white dwarfs and capturing them in these...
Yeah, with their lassos.
Yeah.
They got their stellar lassos.
I was like, you've created an entirely different tone and, like, adventure, and I want to see that.
They made space cowboys.
That's what I want to see. Show me the space cowboys who are capturing the stars.
I don't care about the astronauts' kids. Just show me the space cowboys who made this lunar megastructure.
I do not care that Sam, or whatever the son's name is, stole a car. Show me the cowboys.
Show me the cowboys. So that's our peeves.
That's our peeves.
Yay. So that we don't just tear this movie to shreds.
We've got thieves. Thieves of our hearts.
They stole our hearts.
And I will say that my list of thieves is shorter, but love is greater than hate. So it doesn't matter how few are on this list because they add up. The mass is greater.
Yes, the thieves are denser than the thieves.
They're way denser. My first thieve is just Halle Berry.
Oh,
I haven't seen her in a while. My own fault. And she's really good at what she does. Because I did write down that I'm glad I'm not an actor because I could never do these lines, is what I wrote. And I really bought everything she was feeling.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite line by her?
Oh yeah, the karaoke line. Where she's like, I karaoke'd that at my wedding. As one does. As one does.
This movie should have shown us her wedding.
Yes.
Inside the moon, and the alien cowboys.
Those are if they ever think of doing a prequel, and they kind of did set themselves up for a sequel at the end of this, that's what I hope to see.
All right, from our mouths to Hollywood's ears. My first thief, the first thing that stole my heart, was at the beginning of the movie. I loved that they muted the sound when we weren't inside the spacecraft.
That's a really good thief.
Because so much sci-fi makes space loud, but space is a vacuum, meaning there is very, very little pressure, almost no pressure in space, and sound travels over pressure waves. You need a medium for sound to travel through. So I liked that with the music and with the screaming and with all of the like electronic beeping that was happening in the space shuttle, we didn't hear that from the outside.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, my next thief is a small moment in the B plot, which I know I said I hated, where there's a character who is caring for Joe's son, who seems to be an exchange student.
Yeah.
Although at first I thought she was Halle Berry's wife.
Same.
But I
was like, lesbians?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, fun. No, not true. She is like a kind of caregiver figure for the son, and she makes a joke to Brian's son when Brian shows off this like kind of impulsive tattoo he got once that is, I think she's Chinese and the tattoo is Chinese lettering, and she makes a joke that it says the Jonas Brothers, and he's like, what? Like, I didn't want the tattoo that says Jonas. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, a good moment of levity in this movie. Yeah. My next thief is, and I wrote this in all caps and I circled it a bunch. It's Fuzz Aldrin. Casey's cat is named Fuzz Aldrin, which is the best name.
It's such a good name, and it makes it even better that the cat like consciousness lives on in the moon.
Yes. The moon knows about Fuzz Aldrin, and that makes me so happy.
Yeah, the moon should. Okay, my next thief is that I really liked that they showed me an alien that did not look like an alien I typically see.
Well, they didn't show
the
alien.
They didn't show it, but the snake thing that's traveling in this kind of mercury-like texture, I was like, I don't usually see stuff like that, and I liked it.
That's a good point. There aren't a lot of swarm aliens.
There aren't a lot of like faceless things. I think a lot of alien stuff, it is disorienting, like when an alien has a human-like body but something's off, but it was really fun that it was like a pure monster.
Usually in science fiction, my biggest pet peeve is that they made the alien look too humanoid, so I like that I didn't have to list that as a peeve here.
Yeah.
My next thief is that I appreciated that the moon fell because of external influences and not some natural cause. Before I started this movie, I was really worried that they were going to say, no, the moon's orbit just naturally started to decay. That would have made me extremely angry. But because it was from like an alien trying to influence our system, okay, fine.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
Sure.
I love the moment when Ryan's son in the beginning, this is like the youngest we see the son in the movie, yells, "I hate New Jersey."
This is your New Yorker side coming out.
This is me. And you know what? I'm someone who has always liked going to New Jersey because it meant like, oh, we're going to go to a mall. And I love malls. But I just thought it was so funny that they just gave this kid the line, "I hate New Jersey." And there's a really funny line in Love Actually, a movie I do love, which I know is controversial.
Love Love Actually?
I do love it. And I think it's because I saw it at an age when it was just great to love. There's a line where like one of the kids yells, "I hate Uncle Jamie," which me and my husband will say a lot. And now it's like, "I hate New Jersey."
Yeah, someone on this writing staff or production team is a New Yorker. Like many people 100%. In positions of power for this movie.
Yes.
Must be. I've been talking about this entire episode, but I love that ALMA was included in this movie, even though it wasn't necessary at all. I also really appreciated how they showed that astronomy research on these big telescopes is often done remotely. That made me happy. Yes. I love when you can see glimpses into the real life of a researching astronomer.
Yeah, I really liked that too. I like when that kind of worldwide, what's the word I'm looking for? Not interest, but like exploration can feel small. Like I felt that way a lot when I was reading about like how the COVID vaccine was getting made, and they were saying like, yeah, we're literally on Zoom with doctors in Europe or something. And I was like, we're all working together.
I think that's one of my favorite things about astronomy, that we can study stuff so far away, billions of light years away from this one tiny little rock that we can't leave. Yeah. I think that's so beautiful.
I have one more thief, which is there's a character who means nothing to the story, but she was important to me because she drives up to the drive-through window at Casey's like day job and orders a pastrami sandwich, and she asks him what kind of sauces they offer with the pastrami sandwich. And I loved her because I want to be an old woman who takes myself out for a saucy pastrami sandwich.
This is you in the future.
It sounded so good. I'm so hungry now. I want a pastrami sandwich. He was like, you can have that with ranch, which is not a sauce that you typically get with that pastrami sandwich. But I'm like, I would eat that.
He did not answer her question fully.
Nope. And then she goes
distracted.
He gets distracted because he gets a text that the moon is falling to the earth, and he has to go take his 15-minute break. Right. He's already late for work. He has to get written up now.
He's not an amazing employee.
No. But again, the stakes are so high, it does not matter.
It really doesn't. My final thief is all the gravity effects. The way that they showed how bodies with gravity interacting can mess up the way that we go about the world. I really appreciated that. And they didn't do a lot of math for it. They were just showing the concept, but I don't like doing math either. I like showing things with concepts. So that tickled my fancy. I think that maybe this is a hot take, but I think that the movie is worth it for those scenes of the ocean rising up alone.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I mean, that was a big rocket scene that I was stressed.
It's just, especially because they waited too long. They could have launched earlier.
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
Things always take too long.
There's a moment when Halle Berry releases everybody where she's just like, you all did great work. Go be with your families.
Why?
And it was like, what? We're just giving up?
They don't have time to go reach their families.
No one's going to get to Colorado now.
No, just you might as well have everyone stay here and...
Let's just try it one more time.
Yeah, that was annoying. I love how we went back to the peeves.
We had to end on a peeve.
Well, now we will end on a rubric. We have decided that there are 5 different areas we want to score this movie in, from 1 to 3 moons. So in total, this movie can get a score of 15 moons. We will see how it actually does. The categories here are story, scenery, which we are saying is a combination of the writing and the production of this movie. Like, what do the scenes do?
So one side could be really bad, but the other side is so good that
I
it
do
carries
think
it.
that that's going to happen in this movie.
I do think that's going to happen
The writing
here.
was kind of shit, but the production was terrible.
But hey, that's not up to us.
That's the rubric. Yeah, exactly.
That's the rubric's fault. That's
we
not
didn't
us.
make the rules. The third category, you have to have this with movies, is sex appeal.
Yep, 100%. It's one of the things that sells.
Of course. The fourth category, really important for this show, scientific accuracy. And fifth, also really important for this show, how soothing is it? Does it make us feel better or worse about the universe?
Am I any closer to being the universe's friend?
Yes, exactly. Would the universe want to be friends with this movie?
With this movie?
No.
I don't think so.
So for story, you said, Corinne, that you have thoughts about this story.
I think the story was really lacking. I think it needed a lot of... I think most of the parts were there, and they were kind of shown to me in the wrong order.
Okay.
Like some of like Halle Berry's husband coming out late. Like I could have been invested in like how she had a totally different life than Brian because she got to stay at NASA and he didn't. Or like I think my brain is filling in a lot of the gaps for what I wanted. But the actual story, to me, perfectly mediocre.
Yeah.
It wasn't so bad, and it wasn't good.
It wasn't anything special. I mean, they're clearly trying to do some sort of hero's journey with Casey's character, who starts off as this like outcast conspiracy theorist and then ends up saving the day. That was cute. That's a cute arc. But I feel like the other characters, Brian and Joe, they didn't have good arcs. I feel like there's a lot of extra stuff in this movie that didn't have to be there. Like, we both agree the B and C plots aren't necessary.
And you know, I think one of the things that gives that away, or like shows how kind of messy this was because when I was pulling together like, oh, let me grab the logline for this movie for the recording, there are so many of them floating around, and they all center a different character as the hero. And I think that's what the movie suffered from, of like, we didn't really have one hero. We had these three.
Doing too much.
It was doing too much.
Even not just with the characters, but with the plot. Like the fact that they made this megastructure's origin so much more complicated than it needed to be in order to force their story to work. Like they needed the alien to be like the ancients from Stargate so that they would like us. Like they needed there to be some sort of kinship between humans and the ancient aliens who built the megastructure so that there could be a bad alien and a good alien. Like they tried so hard.
There was a lot. Yeah. And then there are moments they're pitting the army against NASA. It's just like, who's the enemy?
We didn't really talk about the military, but
there was a military thread. You got to see the movie.
They get points off, in my opinion, for wanting to nuke the moon and not caring about any sort of radiative fallout.
Yeah, that was a really silly choice.
Okay, so how many moons would you give this story?
Could it be 1.5 moons?
Yeah, you can give it 1.5.
I'm going to give it 1.5.
Okay, I'll agree with that.
Hell yeah.
On to scenery, which is writing and production.
This is tricky.
It looked beautiful.
Because it looks so beautiful.
It really did. Like, they clearly spent a lot of money on those effects.
They really communicated what was happening visually. Like, I understood.
If I had to watch this movie without dialogue, I think I'd understand pretty well what was happening.
Yes, 100%.
But there are some lines in this movie that aren't good. Good. Like, there's a moment where Joe says, after they realize that the moon is in spiraling, everything we know about the nature of the universe has gone out the window.
Yes.
Excuse me? No, it hasn't. And I'm kind of concerned that you think that's the case and you're about to be the acting director of NASA.
You're so right. I'm going to say that there are some lines in this movie that I never would have thought to write. There's no combination or no length of time where I would have put those words together. So I guess that's impressive, but to me it was really just weird.
Yeah, just weird.
But it looks so good.
It looks so good. So I would like to give it a 2.
Yeah. I agree
in
with
the
that.
middle. Yeah.
It's right in the middle. I agree with that.
2 moons.
2 moons.
Okay. Sex appeal.
Sex appeal.
The only sex appeal that I could find in this movie if I was searching would be Halle Berry.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm going to say.
There are no other characters. There are no other plot points. There's no
not even
other
a kiss
anything
in this movie.
Yeah. Nothing about this movie made me feel sexy or made me feel...
Was there any romance?
No.
Wasted.
Which is fine. I do admire that. I think that too many movies try to shoehorn romance in when it's not necessary. But you can have sex appeal without having romance.
That's true.
And this movie, to me, had neither.
It had none. And even, like, you expect a character like Brian to be the hot astronaut who steps up and is ready to save the world. Yeah. And there was nothing attractive about what ended up happening. It was largely just, like, oh no, we're gonna die. For me, that's what I was feeling.
This is not a movie you want to watch for a Netflix and chill. And not just because it's not on Netflix. I want to give it, like, 0 moons.
Yeah, I think this might be a 0 for me.
This is a 0. Yeah, 0 sex appeal moons.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay, Moonfall. You don't have to be sexy.
You don't have to be hot all the time.
We are saying you look pretty, so there's that.
True.
Okay, on to scientific accuracy. In terms of concepts, okay.
Yeah.
Because they said the moon was changing due to an external factor, better.
Yeah.
And because they got all of the gravitational effects, like all of the tidal effects conceptually right, I like that.
Yeah.
I really do not like the fact that there's a white dwarf in the center of something that's a quarter the size of the Earth. And I really don't like that apparently we've just never accurately measured the mass or size or density of the moon.
That's it. I completely agree with you. There was a part where I was briefly frustrated that they were going to take a space shuttle to the moon, which space shuttles only went to the ISS. But the moon is so close now that I was like, well, maybe you could take the shuttle there.
Okay.
But that's what a lot of this movie is like, well, that's not right, but maybe it's okay.
Right. The fact that we have to put on our very generous glasses to watch this movie means that it definitely doesn't get 3 moons. I don't think it should get 2 moons. I would maybe give it 1 moon.
I think it's a 1 moon.
Okay.
It's a 1 mooner.
It's a unimoon.
Unimoon. That's an Earth
it's a mono
moon.
And the soothing factor.
Okay. Bad. Not good. Not soothed. For me,
right?
Not soothed at all.
This movie makes people think that at any moment the moon could just start spiraling towards the Earth because of aliens. I think
I could have been soothed by the end had they not done that final scene where I'm supposed to think that things are still living in the moon.
Like the good aliens?
The good aliens. I think I'm unsettled by just aliens, period.
Well, I mean, it's a megastructure, Corinne. So.
Just accept that fact. There's always going to be an alien in the moon as long as it's a megastructure. But I wasn't soothed. I was not more eager to learn. I was mostly like, that can't happen, right?
Yeah. Do you think that this actively makes people uncomfortable about space?
I don't know if it makes people actively uncomfortable.
Okay, so we don't have to give it negative moons.
It's not going to be a negative moon. Cool. But I am worried that it's going to empower the wrong people. I don't want any flat earthers to be empowered by a conspiracy coming true.
Yeah. Okay, I agree with that point. Half a moon?
I think it's a half moon.
It's a half.
It's not a full moon.
Oh, wow. Y'all, this movie did not do well on our rubric.
No!
Did it really just get 5 out of 15 moons?
We've said we don't like math, and we're running the numbers. It's true.
It's true. It's this. Okay. Well, you have it here, folks. Moonfall, the 2022 box office flop, got on our official Pale Blue Pod movie rubric, got a 5 out of 15.
That's a third. For all you fraction freaks. That's a third.
That is very close to the 36% it got on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh my God, you're so right. Maybe the rubric is actually a really good good at predicting the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah, we may have stumbled upon this amazing system. Okay, so you can decide whether or not you want to see this movie. Yeah. But we need to actually leave the control room now because there's an observation scheduled.
Okay, here we go.
Right now. But please remember, no matter what telescope you're trying to control remotely or what movie you may be watching, you're still space.
You are. Bye.
Pale Blue Pod was created by Moiya McTier and Corinne Caputo with help from the Multitude Productions team. Our theme music is by Evan Johnston and our cover art is by Shay McMullen. Our audio editing is handled by the incomparable Misha Stanton.
Stay in touch with us and the universe by following @PaleBluePod on Twitter and Instagram, or check out our website, palebluepod.com. We're a member of Multitude, an independent podcast collective and production studio. If you like Pale Blue Pod, you will love the other shows that live on our website at multitude.productions.
If you want to support Pale Blue Pod financially, join our community over at patreon.com/palebluepod. For just about $1 per episode, you get a shout out on one of our shows and access to director's commentary for each episode. The very best way, though, to help Pale Blue Pod grow is to share it with your friends. So send this episode, this link, to one person who you think will like it, and we will appreciate you for forever.
Thanks for listening to Pale Blue Pod. You'll hear us again next week.
Bye.